Hi guys, welcome to the Live Energized Juice Challenge Day 6. Unbelievable, we've made it all the way to Day 6. It's gone so fast. It's been such an enjoyable juice challenge so far. Just been so blown away by the results that I'm already seeing from you guys in the Facebook group and on email. It's just incredible. I'm so proud of all of us for what we've participated and put into this challenge. It's been an amazing week so far and we've got 2 days left. So thank you for joining me on the challenge once again. We've gone well over 20,000 participants now. The Facebook group is absolutely rocking. If you haven't joined the Facebook group, still do join it because I'm sure there's still going to be a ton of value and fun and support and accountability and all that stuff still in there. There's people that have joined, they're doing day 1 like today or yesterday, they only just started, so it's going to keep on rolling for a while yet. So if you haven't joined the Facebook yet, I would recommend joining that right away. Now, today, we've talked a lot in the videos so far about habits, about consistency, and about taking those decisions that you're going to commit and committing to creating those consistent actions that are going to really impact the quality of your life. We've talked about how going after perfection and striving to get everything right on day 1 is the fastest route to failure, and how by just taking hold of your decision making to make a few consistent actions a part of your daily life, to make them habitual, of which juicing is a massive one, and that's why the juice challenge is so important. If you can take that, make that commitment to those decisions, it can really change your life. And today, what I want to introduce to you is my 4 core actions. These are the 4 things that I recommend everybody starts with. You know, I've been coaching this stuff for nearly 15 years with tens of thousands of people from all over the world. And generally speaking, if you can get these 4 things in place, people always get magnificent results. And like we've seen from the Facebook group, the comments in there already, when you get this habit going, when you can start to get the momentum from doing this daily juicing habit, the momentum that brings leads to so many other improvements in your health and your life through other actions that just become 10 times easier. This is kind of one of the premise of how I teach and how I coach, in that if you can nail just the first few steps and get those embedded, everything else gets so much easier, because the benefits you're starting to see are so motivating, but also those benefits give you more energy. You're able to get up earlier in the morning, you're able to have the energy to go and exercise and do things right, and you've got that reward center in your brain being stimulated by the good actions you're taking that will not only move you towards more good actions, but they'll subconsciously move you away from bad decisions. So when you're going grocery shopping, it gets easier to ignore those aisles full of bad acidic inflammatory foods, and it makes it easier to stick to, in most grocery stores, the first 2 sections where all the fresh stuff is. That's what this is all about. So today I want to teach you these 4 core actions. This is something we focus on a lot in the Alkaline Base Camp. Pretty much everybody has had this drummed into them many times now. It's something that forms the foundation, certainly for the first few weeks of being a member, but then plays a massive role thereafter as we then start to add and build and get more and more momentum as things go on. So I'm going to run you through them now very quickly. Starting with the first one is go green. Now, this is why juicing has become such an important habit for you to form. What do I mean by go green? Well, in most countries, the government mandates that you should all have 5 a day. Generally, they say 5 serves of fruits and veg a day, so people go and have like 4 pieces of fruit and then maybe 1 serve of vegetables. In Australia, at least, they have it 5 veg and 2 fruit, but even then, I don't think that's far enough. What I think it should be is at least 5, preferably 7 serves of fresh greens every single day. If you can do this one thing, and it's a lot easier than it sounds when you get started, it will transform your energy and your health, and you will rapidly move towards those health goals no matter how big they are. Just consider the nutritional impact of eating 5 to 7 serves of leafy greens every single day. If you actually sit down and work out the nutritional profile of what that would look like, it would blow you away. And the sad truth is that most people are having nowhere near that. When I audit people's daily diet, so a lot of my members, when they first join, we go through an auditing process. It's available to everyone. Some people don't do it, but when we go through and audit your diet and troubleshoot and get you some quick wins straight away, one-on-one with me, and I look through people's daily diets, generally speaking, most people eating anywhere near a standard diet, a standard sort of Western diet, are getting maybe 1 serve of leafy green foods a day, sometimes not at all. This is so easy to change, and it makes such a big difference. And there's so many easy ways to do it as well. Juicing, by far the easiest way, and this is kind of why this juice challenge is so important to me to deliver to you. But juicing is one, because in each of these juices you're getting at least 3 to 4 serves of green leafy vegetables. And that's before you've even left the house in the morning. It makes it so easy. Another way is one of the rules, it's almost like a mantra in the Alkaline Base Camp, but it's a side salad with every meal, side salad with every meal. And that can literally be as simple as grabbing a couple of handfuls of spinach or lettuce, dressing it with some oil and some lemons, and you have that with every lunch and every dinner. That in itself is adding 3 to 4 serves of leafy greens to your meal. Spinach, you can hide spinach in stuff. You can just, handfuls of spinach just disappears when it's cooked. This is something else we do in the base camp, is if any soup, any smoothie, any curry or big sauce, at least a handful of greens in there, and it just disappears, it goes away, especially if you're blending it as well. These are just some of the really simple ways that you can start to incorporate more leafy greens into your daily diet. All of us are different, we've all got different routines, we've all got different, like, I guess, cornerstone dinners that we default to, and snacks and lunches and different lunch routines, whether you're in the home or you're out of the home at work or you're on the go. We've all got different routines, so we'll all find different ways to start to incorporate this in. It actually fits in really well with the crowd out the bad information that I was giving you on, I think it was on day 1 or 2, whereby you're incorporating, you have to eat the good stuff first, but don't worry about eating the bad stuff for now, but just make sure you always get the good stuff in as well. John Gabriel, who from the Gabriel method, he is one of our expert interviewees in the Alkaline Base Camp. In his interview, he talks about this in context of having everything as a salad topping. So you can have a pizza, but you have to have it on top of a salad. You can have some, you know, like a piece of battered fish or whatever, but you have to have it as a salad topping. And that's just a simple way of going every time. Just make sure you get that good stuff in, and it will crowd out the bad. So go green is my big #1 consistent daily action. If you can make sure and commit to getting at least 5, preferably 6 or 7 serves of leafy green foods every day, lettuces, spinach, kale, watercress, rocket, all those types of foods, you are going to see a huge difference. And it's simple, much easier than you would think. #2 is deceptively simple sounding, but probably more tricky for some people than #1, and that is hydration, hydration, hydration. Still, so few people are getting that 3 to 4 litres of fresh filtered water every single day. Again, when I go through these audits, this is one of the things where when people aren't doing this, it's time to do a happy dance, because I know, like, it's terrible that they've been dehydrated for so long, but I know that the impact that just this one simple thing is going to have on them is going to be incredible, and it's going to give them that motivation to do so much more. But you have to be properly hydrated, at least 2 litres a day, preferably 3 to 4 litres a day. I know to some people that will sound like a lot, especially if most of your hydration at the moment is coming from cups of tea and coffee, which is anti-hydration because it actually is a diuretic. But if you're not used to drinking a lot of water, it can seem a bit intimidating to think 4 litres a day, that sounds like an awful lot. But you can build up slowly, and you can set goals, and you can just go, right, 1.5 litres every day this week, next week 2 litres, then 2.5, and so on. And when you think about the different ways you can incorporate hydration into your schedule, you get to 3 to 4 litres actually really, really easily. The biggest challenges most people have are twofold. One is actually getting that much in, because when you first start hydrating, it's easy to be bloated and just very full from drinking the water, and you're just like, how am I going to fit all this in? The second problem is remembering to drink enough. That's probably the bigger of the 2 challenges. So first up, the bloating and the not actually able to get it in, that eases really, really quickly over time. So the analogy I use is thinking of like a kitchen sponge, a dried up kitchen sponge that hasn't been used for weeks. It's completely dehydrated. When you first run that sponge under the tap, the water just bounces off it. That's like your body. As soon as you put it in, you need to pee it out, basically, and it just bloats you up. But the more water you run over the sponge, the more it wets and becomes absorbent and is able to hold a much bigger capacity of water before it needs to be squeezed out again. Much like your body. So if you're worried that you're going, I'm going to be needing to go to the toilet every 5 minutes, that changes really, really quickly. Also, what changes really, really quickly is your energy levels, your mental sharpness, your skin, the way you feel, your weight, your digestion, your metabolism. All of these things are so impacted by proper hydration. So build up slowly, be aware that you may need to pee more often to begin with, but know feel safe in the fact that you know that that is going to change over time. Point number 2 of remembering to drink enough. This can be a really tricky one for some people, and there will be days where you get to 9, 10 o'clock at night and be like, oh, I didn't drink any water. Now, you can't just then go and drink 4 litres in 5 minutes. That won't work. What you need to do is just go and have a big glass of water and just sit down for a minute, just reflect on how and why you forgot and what you're going to plan to do differently the next day. Just taking those few seconds out to try to reintegrate your mind and body to a goal you're trying to accomplish. Honestly, just taking those few seconds out to actually focus on the problem and focus on the solution can make a huge difference. My tips to making sure you remember to drink enough is tie your new hydration habit to other habits. So there's other things that you do every day without fail. You clean your teeth twice a day. You get up in the morning. You make breakfast, lunch and dinner. You go to work. You sit down at your desk. You leave work. All these types of things. If you can tie, I have a glass of water at each of these things, you know, half a 500 milliliter glass of water. I don't always remember the US fluid ounce conversions, but a half a litre pint glass basically. One of those when you clean your teeth in the morning, one of those when you clean your teeth at night. A litre is done. Have 3 or 4 cups of herbal tea during the day. Another litre is done. Make sure that whenever you get to work, the first thing you do when you sit down at your desk is have a big glass of water. When you go to leave work at night, big glass of water. By tying in a new habit to existing habits, it makes it so much easier to remember and then begin to form this new habitual behavior of drinking enough water. You will find very quickly that you can get to 3 to 4 litres without really, it goes on autopilot so quickly. And I did just very briefly mention, but don't forget herbal teas are alkaline, generally speaking. So pretty much every herbal tea is your friend in this case. You can have them hot or cold, depending on here in Queensland at the moment, it's absolutely boiling. So I would have them nice and iced. But yeah, herbal teas are your friend for that. But hydration, we could do a whole hour on water filtration, alkaline water, how to make alkaline water, all of that stuff. I'll put a guide below this video on alkaline water just so you can get the gist on all of these different options that are available to you. But the first port of call for everyone is you have to filter your tap water and just ditch the bottled water. I'll leave that one there for now. Action number 3 is oils. This one's really simple, but it's one that's missed by a lot of people, is just absolutely making sure you commit to getting enough healthy fats every single day. They are so critical to practically every function in your body. What we're talking about here is, as a complete baseline, is 2 to 3 tablespoons of omega-3 oils per day. You can either have that as a straight omega oil, as a supplement, so fish oils, krill oils, that type of thing, or flax oil supplement. You can have it as a food thing, like literally using flax oil or a product like Udo's Choice on your dressings and salads and things, or a combination of the both. And you can mix up the source of the omega-3 as well. There's lots of different ways that omega-3 is made up, and they're all different, whether it's from fish, whether it's from plant-based like flax and those types of foods. So I like to get a good variety basically, and I recommend that everyone gets as much variety as possible because the body uses them in different ways, and it's always best to have a variety with this type of stuff. So 2 to 3 tablespoons a day of omega-3. Then there's the saturated fats. Now firstly, I'm going to say, generally speaking, coconut oil is by far the easiest way to get saturated fats. You're talking, it's the medium chain triglycerides that we're talking about. Coconut oil contains lots of different acids that make up its makeup, and it is absolutely vital to get a good quality source of saturated fat into your body every single day. A lot of people will be going, what on earth is he talking about? We're not supposed to eat saturated fats. Absolute nonsense. The research, and again, this could be a whole hour-long video, I could talk about this, but the research that actually led to this myth that fats were bad for us, particularly saturated fats were bad for us, is very outdated, very much selective results that were produced and reported on, and it was funded. We should know that. How can I put this politely? A industry sprang up around low fat, which made it incredibly difficult to break that myth, because it suddenly became very, very profitable for a lot of big food companies that we all still believed that low fat was bad for us. Low fat was good for us and high fat was bad for us. However, there have been hundreds of incredibly tightly controlled research projects that have absolutely proven beyond doubt that fat doesn't make us fat. Good healthy fats, so we're talking omega-3 and saturated fats primarily, are not responsible for raising bad cholesterol. They're not responsible for clogging the arteries, not responsible for increasing the number of fat cells in the body. Generally speaking, fructose and other types of sugar are responsible for all of that, which is kind of why the low-fat thing's so bad, because then when they take fat out of foods, they put tons of fructose in. But anyway, you just need to trust me on this one for now. The research is incredible in this area. If you do want to learn more, there's a couple of books and a couple of resources of mine that I recommend you look up. I'll put the links to them below this video. I'm not normally doing this in the Juice Challenge, but I know that this is a question that people really, it's obviously important. People really want to know that there is actual valid research behind this. So I'll put a bunch of information behind this video. But for now, you just need to know to get plenty of omega-3 and saturated fats from coconut oil. How much is too much? Generally speaking, you can't really have too much of these oils. Like I said, they don't actually turn to fat cells and make you fat if you have too much. Your body just gets rid of them. And so important for so many processes, particularly really critical for your cognitive health. There's a really big emerging body of research around Alzheimer's and saturated fats that's really now, it's happening now, but the preliminary results they've found with smaller groups of say 40, 50 participants are overwhelmingly positive in support that having saturated fats like medium chain triglycerides can not only prevent but reverse a lot of cognitive degenerative diseases alongside removing gluten from your diet. Again, we could be going into a whole other hour-long video on that one, but just for now, so that you know, if you're going to include those as a supplement, also you can use them to cook with. You can use them in salad dressings. You can have avocados and nuts and seeds and stuff as part of your diet, and you're not going to be overdosing, so to speak. You'll be absolutely fine. So far, go green, hydration, lots of fats. The fourth one is one that I want to make sure that you take in the right sense, and that is smart supplementation. So I have no affiliation with any form of supplement company, so there's no kind of commercial gain for me to talk to you about supplements. So I want to make sure that you're using supplements in the right way, because the tendency for a lot of people is to start with such gusto and enthusiasm and spend their whole month's paycheck on supplements. You don't really need to be doing that. There's just a handful that I do recommend that you look into. As a baseline, I recommend that everybody gets a good quality organic non-GMO green powder. We talked about this in the juice hacks video, but this is a really important one. I'd recommend having at least 1 scoop a day in water. How weak or strong you want that flavor to be will determine how much water you use. But that is a really good baseline of all the green based nutrients like chlorophyll, plus all the alkaline minerals, plus a whole bunch of vitamins, and all sorts of good stuff in there. And that does count to, that is 1 serve of greens a day as well, if you want to be getting on that front. So on top of using a green powder, I also recommend that you get a good alkaline mineral supplement. Now, there's 2 on the market that I recommend. One is 4 salts by the pH Miracle Company. Contains sodium bicarbonate, magnesium bicarbonate, calcium bicarbonate, and potassium bicarbonate, the 4 most alkaline acid punishing minerals that you can have in the bicarbonate form, which is really great in terms of maintaining that pH balance of your blood and the other extracellular fluids at that 7.365. Really a fantastic supplement. If that's a bit on the expensive side for you, there is another one called Tri-Salts, which is by a company called, I don't remember the name of the company, but if you go onto somewhere like iHerb, Cardiovascular Research is the name of the company. If you go onto iHerb to search Tri-Salts, Tri-salts, it will come up, and that's much more affordable, but it doesn't have the sodium bicarbonate, so it's just the potassium, magnesium, calcium. Another great product, completely, almost entirely tasteless, whereas the 4 salts does obviously taste a bit salty with the sodium in there. If those 2 aren't accessible to you for whatever reason, just getting a good broad spectrum multi-mineral, whether that's a colloidal supplement or a liquid multi-mineral or just a regular capsule, is really important. Just have that baseline of the minerals. When you're looking at what makes a food alkaline or what makes it acidic, one of the main things that determines whether a food will be alkaline forming to the body is its mineral content. Does it contain calcium, magnesium, potassium, sodium, iron, manganese? Those types of minerals that are all so good for your body, so alkaline forming. Particularly the magnesium, I would say, is very important, which does lead me to my next one, which is I do actually recommend for most people to take a separate magnesium supplement each day. I have found personally, and everyone's different, and these all work in different ways, but for me, magnesium biglycinate and magnesium citrate both work very well for me. You can go for whichever type of magnesium you want, but do some research. I have researched this extensively. I've found those two to be most bioavailable. So a separate magnesium supplement. The fourth thing is the oils, which we've already talked about. So getting a omega-3 and then just a coconut oil. It's so affordable that you can either mix into your smoothie or whatever, or just have by the spoonful, which I am quite happy to do. I know some won't be. The final thing, which is most important for people when they're first starting out, is a turmeric supplement. So a curcumin supplement. This is something that is so good for inflammation, and most people, if you've been following anything like a standard Western, standard American diet, i.e. if you haven't been really good with your diet, there will be some degree of inflammation in your body, and using a curcumin supplement and using turmeric in your cooking as much as possible, preferably on a daily basis, will get rid of this inflammation incredibly quickly if you're coupling it with all these other steps we're talking about in this video. So greens, multi-mineral oils, magnesium, and curcumin. They are the main baseline supplements that we're talking about here. And none of these, aside from the greens, none of these are particularly expensive. This is, you know, when I'm talking about making the alkaline diet achievable and easy and straightforward and enjoyable as possible, an element of that is affordable as well. And these supplements, aside from the greens, are all quite affordable. Now the greens, most of these are sold as a month kind of size tub. But they also are sold with you using the greens 3 to 4 times a day. Whereas I'm saying if you're eating well, supplements should be seen as a supplement, not a replacement for your diet. So if you're eating well and living well, the greens once a day is fine. So a tub of greens can last a bit longer. You can obviously scale it up and use it more to begin with if you want to get a bit more of a kickstart, a bit more of a boost. You can scale it down, you can move it around a little bit. So that can help with the affordability there. Those are my 4 core daily actions I recommend that you really, really look to implement straight away. Like I said, we go through this a lot in the Alkaline Base Camp and go into a lot more depth on each of these 4 things, plus exercise as well, which is kind of like the 5th beetle to these 4 core actions. We go into this a lot, particularly in January, which is our reboot and detox month, which is really ramping up now. If you are looking to sort of take this up to the next step and progress this, getting involved in that is a logical next path, and I will get in touch with you in the next few days if that's something you are interested in. Yeah, these 4 core actions will get you a long way. And Basecamp members, if you're watching this, we will be going into these a lot in the next 30 days, which is going to be awesome. But they're the 4 core actions that I recommend you take every day. You're already winning with one of them because you're having that juice at the beginning of the day, which is probably 4 to 5 serves of leafy greens before you've even left the house in most cases. So just supplementing that with a salad as well, and you've won that one. The hydration, I hope you're already working on from our video a couple of days ago. The supplementation, that is quite an easy one to get on board with and win. And the oils is just so important, you can't leave that one out. I hope that has been of use to you. Day 6 is here. For a lot of you, well, certainly for you in Australia, day 6 will be nearing an end now. You're nearly onto the last day. I will be back tomorrow with another training video and a bit of a wrap-up party. Until then, if you haven't joined the Facebook group, get in there, join it now, because this is where we start to celebrate. If you're on Instagram, be sure to tag the picture of your juice with the hashtag #LiveEnergized, or just tag me at #LiveEnergized. I would love to interact with you guys on there. Other than that, so proud of you guys. Wonderful work so far. Day 6 wrap. Let's get on to day 7 and let's just smash this and keep this going and make this your best year ever. Until then, take care and I'll see you all tomorrow.